Hi. Um, I had a kind of a strange childhood growing up. So I'm going to kind of tell some stories. Not all at once, just probably one for today. And the three main characters of these stories is going to be me, myself, and I. And myself, he's kind of a uh, instigator, troublemaker, kind of kick the dog to see if it bites you type person. And I'm I. Uh, um, I'm kind of, I don't know, the best way to put it is kind of just roll with the flow. It seems like whatever me or myself are doing at the moment, I kind of just roll with it. And me, on the other hand, now, he's always one of those people that kind of always see the glasses half full. He's always looking for the best in people. And I kind of person who looks um, both ways when you cross a one-way street. I don't believe people who put on their blinkers to turn. Now, myself, um, he's the kind that would, like I said, kick the dog to see what's going to happen. Yeah, and um, he's the kind that would, you put your blinker on, and he's going to turn out in front of you, whether you meant to turn or not. Yeah, and so these are just kind of, you know, some stories from me, myself, and I. The first story is way back when I was, uh, uh, you know, I don't know, I think 10, 11 years old. My stepsister, and I'll tell you about that family situation on another episode, how my dysfunctional family all came about. Anyways, um, uh, her and her boyfriend, who at the time I thought was okay, turned out to be a piece of work. Anyways, my other stepsister, Georgine, right, sweetheart, you know, um, dated this guy for a while. And this guy had a tendency of putting all his change in jars. He never separated it. When he got home, he'd just take it out of his pocket, throw it in a jar. When that jar got full, he'd put a cap on it, and put it away. And Georgine happened to tell Janelle about this. Well, Janelle and her boyfriend um, thought, wow, this guy's an easy mark. So they started questioning Georgine about this a little more, and they found out the guy traveled a lot. So he wasn't home very much. So Janelle worms I can't really say address because the way it's located, there was no address. It was just a description on how to get there. So we get there to this single wide trailer. You know, you had to put it up out in the woods. You know, and it was in kind of a oaky, primitive, place, but it was had good solitude. It was only maybe 1,000 yards from the river. Anyways, So I and myself and me, we get conned into because Janelle's a refrigerator with a head, big gal, right? And her boyfriend is tall, skinny, and about 30 to 40 years older than Janelle. Anyways, so they conned me into going down and helping them. So me, myself, and I, we listened to the situation, and myself says, "Fuck, let's do this." You know, me, I don't know, man. What happens if something goes wrong? And I'm just kind of thinking, well, I'm kind of with myself on this one. Why not? Kind of thing like that. And anyways, long story short, right? They talked me into going with them. We get down there to this trailer, and the place is locked up like a fortress, right? And given the circumstances, I mean, I kind of. Anyways, we end up finding a window, and it's small. That's where I came in, right? Their plan was to hike me up and put me through this window. I said, okay, why not? Myself is going, yeah, 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 do it, do it, do it, do it. And he's going, hey, don't think you ought to be a little smarter about this, but I just kind of go along with it. And anyways, I get passed through the window. Turns out it's the bathroom. Okay, no big deal. Climb over the sink, climb over it, get into the bathroom, creak open the bathroom door, look, don't see anything. Well, according to Georgine, all the jars full. All I'm supposed to do is just go in and open the front door so they can come in. And um, anyways, but where all these jars are supposed to be full of coins are in this place. Now, mind you, man. Okay, this is just a story. You know, it may or may not have happened. I'm not guaranteeing anything here. But anyways, so here I am in the bathroom. I'm peeking out around the corners. I'm looking. It's quiet, pretty quiet. I don't think anybody's here. So I start moseying on down the trailer, the you know hallway there, and um, I get to the living room and I look over. And now, mind you, I'd never met this guy who lived in the trailer. Um, uh, but I look over and there's someone sound asleep on the couch. I'm going, fuck, what do I do? So I run back, climb through the bathroom window, and I'm telling, they're asking me, well, why didn't you open the door? Why didn't you go? I said, there's somebody sleeping on the couch. What? There's somebody sleeping on the couch. And so then they get all paranoid, and now they're booking it. And um, as we get back to the car, Janelle says, why didn't you grab a jar of change and throw it out the window first? That's when I kicked in and told her if you weren't so fucking fat, you would have been able to do it yourself. Pardon the language, but this is not kid rated stories, because they're real life stories. Um, but I mean, this is stuff that you know. I mean, we're talking 1970, you ish, around there. Um, but this is just one story of me, myself, and I. So one of these days, we'll probably not too long, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about the future or of the videos. Um, But for now, that's all I got. Um, I know there's going to be way more to come. Where I grew up was a Wild West lively place during the late 60s all the way up into probably the late 70s. You know, I was a kid. I grew up during those times. Like I said, some of the stuff, um, uh, well, most of it is not going to be able to be proven. Um, I don't really have any relatives alive anymore. Um, so, and most of the people that um, are involved in these stories are probably dead. Well, I know them, but probably 98% of them are. There's a few that I don't really know if they're still around or not, but I'm retired, and I was a kid when they were an adult. So uh, maybe they got Alzheimer's and don't remember any of this. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just telling you the world according to me, myself, and I. And I'll see you soon. Take care and God bless.